We live in the most advanced time in human history.
We want to use technology to solve the problem of today and become the solution of the future.
By the end of next year, I think we'd be selling humanoid robots to the public.
Huntington's disease has been successfully treated for the first time, according to the results of a trial that has just been released.
Unlimited resources, unlimited entertainment, unlimited technology. However, despite that, we are the most depressed civilization in history. Anxiety is rising, attention spans are collapsing, and millions of people are disconnected from themselves. Which brings up the question, if the modern world has given us so much, why are we struggling? The answer begins with the system, because the system competes for one thing, not your money, not your time, but the most valuable asset and resource that you have, your attention. And companies have learned how to monetize and make money out of your attention. They've learned to exploit it. This video is about how that system works, how they capture your attention, how they monetize and exploit it, and how it shapes your perception and contributes to something much bigger, the death of the individual. So how do you capture the attention of billions of people? The answer is simple. You exploit human psychology.
I mean, and I think we're all trying to deal and understand what we're calling the attention economy, right?
Yeah. If you see a notification, it schedules you to have thoughts that maybe you didn't intend to have.
This is iPhone 10. It is the biggest leap forward since the original iPhone.
Human beings are naturally drawn towards certain things. Fear, unpredictability, validation, uncertainty. And these emotions capture attention faster than anything else. And once you understand that, you can build an entire business around it. Because in the attention economy, the longer you keep somebody engaged, the more money you make from them. This is why modern platforms aren't designed to help you think. They're designed to keep you watching.
There's a whole lab at Stanford that teaches students how to apply persuasive psychology principles into technology to persuade people to use products in a certain way. So it's not about giving you all this freedom, it's about sucking you in to take your time.
You open social media, and you're not shown the most important thing, but you're shown the thing that will capture your attention the most. Because here's the truth, my friend. The algorithm is not optimizing for truth, it's optimizing for your engagement. Because the longer you stay engaged, the more profit they make. This is how the system works. But the real question isn't how the system captures your attention. The real question is, what happens when it does? Because attention is more than what you just look at. It's what you begin to think about. It's what shapes your perception and ultimately who you become.
The race to maximize eyeballs and engagement. Whatever's sticky, whatever gets people's attention, whatever's salacious. You run children's development and self-image through that. You run politics through that.
Right.
You run media through that.
The things you consume become the things you think about. The things you think about become your beliefs. And your beliefs become your actions. And your actions shape the person that you are. Which means attention just doesn't influence what you watch. It influences who you become. And eventually, my friend, something strange begins to happen. You stop directing your own attention and you begin reacting to whatever captures it. A headline, a news story, a notification, an algorithm, day after day, year after year, the same thing over and over again. Until one day the outside world becomes more loud and more real than your inner voice. This is when the danger occurs. Because if every spare moment is filled with noise, there is no room or space for anything organic. You have no space to think deeply. You have no space to question. You have no space to discover your true value. And when you lose that connection, you lose something far more than your attention. You lose yourself. Most people think individuality dies once we start to conform, when we start to think the same, when we all start to dress the same and behave the same. But individuality dies much sooner than that. The death of the individual begins when we start to lose ourselves. Because being an individual isn't about being different. It's about knowing your value, knowing what you believe in, knowing what truly matters to you, and knowing what kind of life you want to live. But that becomes difficult when you're constantly bombarded from the outside world, when you're told what to think, what to buy, what's cool and what's not cool, what to fear and what to desire. And eventually something strange happens. You know what everyone else thinks, but you don't know what you think. You know what everyone else values, but you don't know what you value. And then you forget what you want your life to look like, what you dream of, because you've given your attention so much to the outer world that you haven't spent any time developing your inner world, the true self. And without the inner world, there is no individuality, only reaction, conformity, imitation. And that's why the death of your individuality doesn't happen all at once, but happens step by step, one distraction at a time. And this brings me to my most important and favorite point. That this is why the hero of stories have survived thousands and thousands of years. This is why we see them over and over again in stories and films. Because every hero represents something that we've forgotten. Now think about the characters we admire. Aragorn, Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter. You see, none of them were remembered because they followed the crowd, but they're remembered because they decided to leave it. Because every hero eventually faces the same choice. The comfort of conformity or the uncertainty of being themselves. And this is what makes those stories timeless, something that we remember. These stories aren't truly about defeating villains, but they're about discovering who you are, your purpose, and what you want to become. It's about finding a purpose worth pursuing, regardless of what anybody tells you. It's about a truth worth standing for. It's about a path worth walking, a mountain worth climbing. Because heroes are internally driven. They don't allow the outside world to determine what they do. They have their own purpose. And maybe this is why those stories resonate so deeply within us. Because somewhere inside all of us, there's a determination to become more than a consumer, more than a spectator, but to become the hero of our own lives. And this journey begins with one simple truth, with one simple decision, reclaiming the ability to think for ourselves, to be ourselves, and spend time with our inner world to find out what we truly want. To choose for yourself and reclaim your attention, because every hero's story is a story about reclaiming themselves. If the death of the individual began by giving your attention away, the regaining of individuality begins by taking it back. Not from social media, not from the news or the television, but from unconsciousness. You see, the problem was never Twitter or Facebook or the phone. The problem was forgetting who's in control of it, who has the power. And the first step is surprisingly simple. It's create space for yourself, a space away from the noise, a space away from advertisements and constant clutter, the news, friends, family, because the more space and quietness you have, something else gets louder. Your own thoughts, your own beliefs, that inner voice begins to grow. And you begin to realize that voice has always been there, buried beneath all of those distractions. And this is why silence matters. This is why solitude and introspection matter. Because you cannot discover who you truly are, what your inner voice is truly saying, if you're constantly distracted and consuming things. And at some point, you stop reacting and start choosing. You choose what deserves your attention. You choose what deserves your energy. You choose what's valuable and what doesn't mean anything. You choose the person you want to become, because your attention is much more important than just a resource. It's your life. And where your attention goes, your future flows, my friend. And the moment you take that decision to reclaim your attention, you ultimately reclaim your own life. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's the first one I've done in this matter. If you did like it, like, subscribe. If you didn't, comment below why you didn't like it. And maybe work on making it better. But I hope you did. I will see you guys next week. And if you're looking for more content about your hero's journey, reclaiming your attention, becoming a better human being and person, and escaping the system of mind control and conformity, stay tuned, because I'll be back with more videos about this. Talk to you later.